Good afternoon. We're back at it. It's Wednesday, April 20th, 2022, and just a range day today. So you really got to play these short-term trends. I really didn't like much today. We'll see if I mark more as we go through it. But 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like I have 4 sure thing trades, and that's it. So let's take a look. In the overnight, we're trending up. We don't come back to the EMA until right about here, a little bit before the open. And we're just chopping back and forth. No real setup to go long above here. But you get this lower high, and that's tempting. That's very tempting to go short as if it's the low of the range or the high of the range. But with that breaking higher, it's just a little, I'd be a little nervous to take that. And then we just start going down and there's no failure. So nothing you can take in there. And then we break into this range. Really, now that I'm looking at it, I mean, you would have had this top tier. I think I remember having it like this before. I think I moved it down because this looked like a breakout pullback over here. And that would make sense. That would make sense why this is the highs of the range. But I think, originally you're going to have it drawn like this. So nothing in here, just chopping around. And we find support at the midline of the overnight highs and lows. And you get set up for I got to be honest, this is a setup for a failed second entry, short, and it does look like a good reversal pattern. I just don't like it when these reversal bars are like dojis. We'll see an example of like one I do like later on in this chart, but it closes kind of far from the EMA too. I marked it blue. It's off the short-term trend channel, so that's good, and I'm sure there's room to the top of this channel, but maybe I would have had my channel drawn more tight. I probably would have. And so that makes it look very, very risky. So this kind of looks like a double test right here. That's why I marked that. But I had my range highs like right here, so you'd be going into those. This looks like a double bottom, so I don't think this is... Oh, this is a failure. Okay, so let's talk about this. Let me delete this. So here's the second entry, but that's going into the highs, so you shouldn't take that right here. But we get a new low. This is basically a double bottom. You get a first entry, and then it goes higher, and then boom. So it doesn't look like it, but if you were watching live, you can see this is a failed second entry short. And that confirms this yellow channel. I didn't see that in real time. If you saw that in real time, take that. Also, it looks like we're at the low of a range. Like this is a range and it's a failed break lower. So there are multiple reasons to take that. And then we start riding this midline, and then we pull back and make a second entry long. Now I was a little nervous because this is clearly a slight overshoot. But this was a pretty good uptrend, and it was off the EMA. It's a second entry long. This is clearly 2 legs. It's not like it's 1 leg down, or at least it didn't look like it to me when I was watching it. I mean, maybe it is, but to me, when I was watching, this looked like 1 leg, a break, a new leg down, boom. And then we come down here, you get a first entry, failed second entry. That's off this short-term blue channel. And we make, I think that's a matching high and another bearish bar right there. Both of these are aggressive. This one looks congestive. And this one's congestive too. So these are both actually pretty darn aggressive. We continue trending down, and again, we bounce near the midline. And so this is a really good reversal pattern. You should have no problem taking this. Even if this fails, that's just a high quality setup right there. Very bullish bar. Lots of price rejection. off the EMA, off the trend channel. Although as someone of my skill level, you wouldn't have had that trend channel drawn yet, and it could be a little steeper too, and that'd be off the midline. So I just drew it from the beginning of where it started. It couldn't go lower. And we break that, attempt at a new high. That fails. We're just chopping back and forth. I don't see anything in here I like. It's just hard to figure out what's going on because it hasn't been able to break lower, but it hasn't been able to break higher. But the bias did feel up. First entry, failed second entry. This looks like it's off a trend channel. That's why I liked it. Off a trend line. You can see that right there. So you'd have to go long above that though. And that didn't break lower. It broke lower right here. So you go long right there. So it's far from the EMA. That's why I marked it aggressive. Otherwise, I really like that setup. Confirming the trend channel. And then look at this. Beautiful. It's a little away from the EMA, but this is just such a textbook second entry long. I think you got to take that. It looked like this might be a level of support for us to go higher, but turns out we're just chopping around, and you get a failure, but it doesn't set up below the EMA, so I don't like that. Actually, that's a second entry short right there too, so I'm going to mark that, and it confirms the channel. So that Mac might mark that red, but I don't know. I don't think it's red for me. This is too far from the EMA. We come down here. We finally go below and well below the overnight midline, but we can't make it to the lows. And you get a first entry, failed second entry. So this is actually a setup you might take right here. It's not off a trend channel though, and it looks like we got an overshoot of this downward movement, but we're not sure. That's at the level of resistance. It's a little risky, at least in my opinion. That's what I saw. So range day. Hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. God bless.